Who else is attending online? No one else. Okay. Cool. So let's get started. Sata sota hapana kwanisa kuita anything. Yeah, so yesterday I forgot to put the calculate. So what it does eish. So what it does that formula it it handles manual values. Maybe I just thought maybe that's the reason why it failed to work. Yeah. I haven't. I thought I did. And I share. I can you see it now? Hello? Right, that's fine. So maybe a recap of where we are now. So we did what? We did a tower on what Power BI in its components, right? We also did data importing, also did data cleaning or data preparation, where we did some operations like renaming the column names, creating new columns, dropping now values, appending queries, merging, etc. And we also did some part of modeling, but I think maybe to make it a bit easier, let's not for in-depth modeling concepts, so that after this we then go to do the practicals. So I think I'll run through this. It's 43 pages, but I'll run through so that we get our hands dirty, because I think we understand much by doing, and don't be scared. If you have a question, you can just so this is the agenda for today, and of course we'll cover some bit of visualization, though we'll cover it later. I think that's the next chapter. So the reason why I combined it in the previous lectures is for us to see the entire pipeline of what exactly needs to be done. So I saw people yesterday, they were getting confused to say what's now happening here during the data modeling where we are creating the data tables, etc. So in this section, we'll discuss data types and star schema. We touched a bit on star schema yesterday, is it?
Please task me.
So we'll explain. Let's cover the data types. I think we explained the difference between facts and the dimensions, right? What did we say?
Dimension tables, I think they're tables that contain data that doesn't change so often. In the input tables, they contain tables that is the data that changes so often. For example, sales. Yeah, what else?
So in other words, dimension tables, they give details that explain fact tables. If we are saying we made a sale to which shop. So we find that in a shop table. If you are saying a customer bought one pack of rice, we'll say which customer. We get that from the customer table. So in short, also maybe to add on that, dimension tables, they provide details that explain what fact tables. Because in fact tables, mostly there will be foreign keys. So for us then to get the details, we reference what to the dimension table. Yeah. Um, so we say facts represent activities, observations, or such events. Dimension describe business entities like products, people, places, concepts, providing details or answers to questions like who, what, when, where, how, and how. Where, why, and how. So, so it's important to create a well-designed data model in Power BI because it offers different benefits. So it enhances understanding of our data and also simplifies report building and the faster data exploration, right? So um, we are saying we want to understand the star scheme, but what Power BI does is it combines data from different sources, and we create a semantic model, right? Which makes it easier for us to analyze the data. So star schema is one of the common techniques that we use. So in a star schema, we have a fact table connected to different dimension tables, right? So this separation provides clear description, right? And also it provides hierarchy, which makes it easier for analysis. So let's see how a star schema looks like. So, so I wanted to change the. So this is our star schema. So a star schema, it works the way to say we have a table. You saw when we are creating our models, right? We had the effect table and it was connected to the relationships with other tables. So if you check the shape that comes there, it's like a star where the fake table is connected with what? To the dimension tables in our model. So if you go to your model and just check how those tables are related, it's like we are coming from our fake what sales table. Then it's connected to the product, to the customers, to the shop, etc. So it's like a star scheme. Yeah. So this it's nothing much. It's just saying we have a fake table connected to what? To different tables, forming like a star shape. So creating relationships, edit and create hierarchies. We did this, right? So we said that when connecting to our database, you remember that when we connected to our Adventure with DB, some relationships came already connected. So it is worth noting that those relationships may sometimes come at horrible. So we may need what to just check to make sure that they are correct, right? So we did editing of relationships where we deleted the relationship and also did what? The matching. So we have one to many, many to one, one to one, etc. right? So we also have what? Cardinality, which refers to the uniqueness of data values in a column. Cardinality. The uniqueness of what? Of the data values in a column. It determines the relationship between tables based on the number of records that correlate between them, right? Sorry, someone was joining. So we also discussed about cross direction field, where we said you should use both sparingly because it may end up what? Um, distorting your what? Your analysis. We also have what we call circular relationships, and we should try to avoid this. So circular relationships, for example, we have quantity, uh, unit price, right, and cost. Then we have total revenue. So total revenue is dependent on what? On cost, unit price, and quantity sold. So if anything changes in one of those variables, it changes what? The revenue or the total cost. So you you should bear in mind that we should deal with circular relationships um, carefully because they may end up distorting what your analysis. So those dependencies must be handled very well. We also have hierarchies. I think we demonstrated the hierarchies when we were doing this, where we said you can then drill down and to see that we see it using what? Using this like the fork, these ones which you use to drill down. So if your boss maybe wants a table, maybe at a certain level of granularity, maybe a year, you don't necessarily need to create it. You just drill down. Maybe the pattern may not be that visible at year. You then what drill down to what? To a quarter, to a year, so to a quarter, to a month, to a day, maybe to an hour. All right. So there's some knowledge checks there on data models. What is the difference between fact table and the dimension table? What's your vote there? Yeah, it's the first one. Fact tables contain observational data, while dimension tables contain information about specific entities within the data. So dimension is metadata, data about the data. They just describe what the fact tables. Second one, how do you describe a star schema?
Observational data ndiyibwa mu nini I was going for B,
Observational is transactional data.
transactional data.
Yes.
I think that's where I got it wrong. If I was alone, I was going for B.
No, it's wrong because fact tables they don't contain specific information about the entities. Dimension tables does. We say dimension they explain, fact table they provide details. What about the second one, Shami? What's your vote there? Suppose you are in an exam, you should give us an answer without fail.
C.
The answer is C. Do you want to? Well, what was your answer? Hmm. Okay. So it's C. So multiple dimension tables with relationship to what? To one fake table.
Yeah, my question to no problem.
Right. So that's it. Kutogara wabatira futi. Creating calculations with DAX. Ndopatula kuenda. So we'll cover the introduction, which we did already, advanced DAX concept and optimization. Hatizosvika hedu ikoko today. What is DAX? Calculated measures, calculated columns and tables. I think we created the table yesterday, right, using DAX, where we said calendar, auto or calendar. Then we insert what? We insert the.
Why were we creating a calendar there? Yet, a table in order, in any order things.
Can you answer that?
So, why were we creating a calendar table yesterday? Yet we had, it's okay.
All right, so I can take that.
It confused me because when I was when I video and then I was now asking myself, we already have a table in all the dates, yet we are creating another table. I think in a calendar in days.
Yeah.
What are you trying to approach?
So the rule of thumb is when we are working with dates, you should create a dedicated date table, right? So then for every table with a date, we connect it to the date table so that you create that cross field relationship between the tables, and you only use one table for a date. So suppose you need date my custom and a date of birth, right?
For example, this paper all the data
Themselves.
themselves.
Yeah.
Then we created another table that is calendar. That has a linger all the data themselves to calendar.
The reason why we also do that is for control. Because in order table, that's an order date. It's not a calendar for our business. Because I explained that year end rate you can end in February or March or June. So if we explicitly create our table and then declare our fiscal year end month, we now have control. So we then link every date table, date column in all the tables to what? So when you see that when you are doing analysis, it's now easy. You just be using what? Your date table instead of going in each and every table, finding the date. Yeah. Okay. So we said what is DAX? DAX is called data analysis expression. It's a library of functions and operators. The functions like which you were doing in CV when you were saying select all, count if, substring. There are functions here. For example, sum ifs, calculate, summarize, use relationship. They are all functions. So we use it to build formulas and expressions. We also use it to create calculated measures, columns and tables, right? Um, so there are different techniques to create this. So we are going to explore them. So if you go on your ribbon, there are these options to say new measure, quick measure, new column, table, what. Yeah, I think we explained, we did part of this yesterday.
I also the question, what is a measure?
Chief, what is a measure?
Measure, yeah, that one. It allows you to perform certain calculations. For example, we would want to calculate maybe things like the total revenue. Yeah, then you make use of a measure.
Also, so a measure is only for calculation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is
That's
for
that's my understanding. When I did a small video, a measure is for
It's
calculation.
for calculation. So we can, you remember in SQL when we were creating new columns, right? So the difference between a calculated column is, all right, let's start from a calculated column. A calculated column, we are creating a column from existing columns.
Yes.
For example, we have quantity sold and unit price. So for us to get total sales, we do what?
We have to create a column in total sales.
Which we are multiplying the
Like
two.
multiply this and this, and then we say this is total sales.
So that's a calculated column, right? So what a calculated column is doing, it's going row wise, is it? So it's, and the column is physical to the table. It adds to to your model. You know what there are megabytes. Yeah, because it's physical to the table. Now a calculated measure, the difference between a calculated measure and a calculated column is, they, in some instances they work the same, but calculated measures, they are created at runtime. They are not they are not stored in your model like what a calculated column does. Because if you create a calculated column and you go to your table, you see it. But for a calculated measure, you won't. It created based on the calculation that you are doing.
Okay.
Yes.
So you won't see that in our model.
Yes. It will be in your table that you create, you will see it, but in the model, in the list of measures, you will see it. But if you then go to your table view, you won't see a measure.
You won't see it.
Yes.
But why, when you created a measure, you see it on the like kind of a, let's say kind of a blank report. When you're in a far right, when you're in a list of tables, you can see.
you can actually
You can see it there.
You can see the measure.
But if you go to the table view, can you see it?
You cannot.
You cannot.
see it.
No, you cannot. I think maybe to put it simple, maybe you might have filters on your report. Maybe filters to say you want to select the sales, maybe the sum of sales for 2021 only, the sum of sales for 2022 only. So in that context, if you click 2021, for example, so it is through the measure that it will calculate based on that context only.
Right. So maybe this
So it's applied only to the
calculated measures, they are defined with DAX definitions, right? They are computed on the fly. The moment you are dragging it and putting it to your visualization, that's when that's when it's computed. Unlike a calculated column, which is created the moment you create it and it's stored in your model, and it takes memory as well. It impacts as well your model performance. They are not stored in your data model. They are responsive to interaction. If you filter calculated measures, they respond. To say you have 5 branches and you filter for one, the calculated measures, they respond, unlike calculated columns, right? They are indicated by a calculator icon, this one, right? And I think we can explain implicit versus explicit versus quick measures. Implicit, if you go to your data right now, for any numerical column, for example, unit cost, there is this sign. There is this sign.
Summation.
Yeah, this one. So this is an implicit measure. So by default, Power BI automatically aggregates all numerical columns using functions like sum, aggregate, minimax. So if we are to use that, we can even do total sales without using calculated columns or calculated measures, because it automatically does that. When you import painonge sheet loading pipe, inenge to detect out this is what a numerical, or the moment you say you go and change the data type to any numerical number, whether currency or fixed decimal
No,
number
but
or
it's
what?
aggregate functions, right?
We have to aggregate. Say we can aggregate on this column. So it does on those some minimax averages, count etc. So on explicit now, on explicit we intentionally create, for example, what we did yesterday when we were creating total profit. We are now declaring to say we need what? We need total profit. We write
Okay.
we write the DAX queries to create explicit measures.
So implicity, in simple words, we are saying it's system calculated.
And we don't have control over
We don't
it.
have control over it.
On explicit,
Explicitly, you are saying I want this.
I want this. I want my total sales to be calculated this way based on person, based on stock. So you are stating. Then quick measures, they are predefined. I think he did that when he was now dragging what? The column to a, for example, total, you can say total sales. It's called total revenue minus what? Minus total cost. There is that this window where we say the calculation base value field. Right? It's as simple as that. So calculated columns, they are also defined using what DAX expression. They are computed and stored in the model. Useful or helper connector columns. You will usually use these as connector columns when you are computing calculated measures in most cases. Which our calculated measures may even ride on top of our calculated columns. I think you will see an example that I did. They are they are recalculated during data refresh. Their table and sigma icon, uh, table and sigma icon. So to see that this is a calculated column, you see it with this. There's a sigma on top of a table, right? Then we go to calculated tables. For example, if you say calendar auto, that's a calculated table. We create it explicitly. We just put the data. You see it using a table and a calculator icon, a calculator on top of a table. Column versus measures, where and how to use it. So create value for each row column. Tikatoenda tinotoona kuti tikati total profit for each item in our data model, there will be what? A corresponding what? Value in that column. But for a measure, it's calculated on demand. When we drag it to our visualization, that's when it created. This one stores values in a .pbix, which means it has impact to the model. Then measure is calculated based on filters. It's dynamic. That's the beauty of it. Then
I think I got it when you were saying what I measure. What I measure, calculate the total quantities that were sold in 2021. Check out what I'm future Nema customers,
Yes.
Nema employees, attendance.
Yes,
It
then response.
So the actual value is passed via the formula so that at least you can have that.
So it's row by row calculation can impact performance. It's row by row, but DAX expression may still be suboptimal based on the filter that we put. Then must be referenced with measures for reuse. So we said what measures they write on top of what? On calculated columns. Measures they can also reference other measures directly for use. Then there is a label there which you are going to do. Then knowledge check. Which statement about measures is correct? And this is how the questions are asked. And remember, the exam is multiple choice and the case studies.
I would go with C. Correct me.
It's correct. We just, I think the previous slide. Charmaine, I think you should tell us this one, the second one. Which of the following statement describes similarity of measures and calculated columns in an import mode is true? No, now it choose by elimination. Utanga ubvisa are wrong.
In question here,
I'm now in this.
you can explain the question.
Do you want to take it?
Which of the following statement is describing
Explain to me like I explained to
In layman's terms. They both do summarization.
What is the question asking? That's where my problem is.
The similarity between the two. We say these things are similar,
But there is a
but they
statement you
differ.
say in an import mode. What does that
Yeah,
mean?
that one I think that one is there to confuse you.
Yeah, boss.
Some
Similarities, Emma measures, Nima column, that one, but because in import mode, I think that's where.
It's a model. If you can data always, maybe importing the data into the Power BI.
We explained two important data connection modes. We explained four.
So when I know importing a copy, direct
No, you see, in simple terms, why do we use those two? It's for calculations, mostly for summarize. That's the similarity between the two.
Okay, my column, my measures.
Yes, because in the way I would go for it is to go to the second one. They store values in a data model. We say the measure doesn't do that. It's now wrong. They are evaluated during data refresh. A measure is not evaluated during data refresh.
But into the data refresh,
it's not even calculated. When you
stored in the
yes. So we are left with one by elimination.
You get it.
Advanced DAX concept, filter context, semi-additive measures, time intelligence functions. I think we'll not touch much on this because you get confused. We should start first. I think we need to come back. Let me see if there's anything to explain there. Create a common table, which we're explaining to say for dates, we need to create a common table and reference all the dates to that table. Time intelligence functions.
I also need for you to explain how to create my tables. What is you explained it, but I didn't make sense of it.
Okay.
My tables.
For this one, we optimize DAX performance. So we have what we call variables. We would cover variables, and their main function is for readability, simplified troubleshooting, improved performance. Vakaita computer science vanoziva kuti if you want to store a value, you store it what? In a variable. You then need to return something. Yes. Then tuning performance, analyzing query plans. I think we need to do this last part after we deal the first one because we can't go to advanced without doing what? The simpler ones. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. to our Power BI. I need my.
This is your.
Oh, this is my thing, right?
Sorry. I think there's none of this.
I want to see what's that? Light.
Yes. Yeah, you can click.
You are breaking. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes, I can.
you can open that one.
And let's use the one which we have already prepared.
Okay, start by this one.
That. Or you want to explain the date one? I think you can take a few minutes so that need to take a few minutes. But don't mark it as a date.
Okay, cool. And this one, I think I marked that one. The other one was okay.
Which one? I think there's also problem with the version of my Power BI.
This one. So we won't mark this one, but I think for this one it's working. This one. So even did something like this. Look at this one. This.
Sales preference here.
This one. This matrix.
Okay. So I'm opening my what? My document.
So that page, where did they get the motivation in this page?
No one knows. So we want to get our ends date. We don't want to take much time. And I hope you are going to understand also. So that you don't take what? Much time.
That's an hour, Baba. I thought about an hour is got wisdom. It's easy.
It has insights.
Yeah.
It sees.
You know, such a group of Mazis, it's called the parliament.
I know it.
Yeah. I'm happy it's now loading. So we have a okay. So you want to take it?
Cool. I hope it will not skip.
Maybe let me take this one. You can. Then I will do the other. So you can come and take
I
it.
think it's stuck on this one. That's why.
Why is it saying untitled? Okay.
What is this? Okay, well, there is this one already. I think you can. Okay, if there's this one, I think it's fine. Proceed.
Oh, should I proceed?
Okay. Wait a got this one.
Okay, guys. So let's start. I want to start on a blank page. Right. So we said what?
We are all starting on it.
No, let's use that one. I'm creating a new page. I was doing my some of my symbols here, doing some visuals, etc. So I'm saying let's just on that plus sign create a new page, and I will say uh, 3. I'll let me call these ones.
So now the close and apply.
You lost everything.
in that way.
Right. So, guys, let's start on. Do you still have your calendar table with you?
Yeah.
Uh, let's just do. You have like this, right? I think I've pasted this in the group chat. So instead of everything that was there, let's just copy and paste this one. So the calculate function is taking care of what? It's taking care of the now value. This is correct, right?
Yeah,
This is okay, right? So you now have that.
Can you explain schema now values and the reason of putting that in?
In case there is a now value,
This
it
is
will,
is this the table that you have created?
yes.
So we are saying in case there are now values where?
Because what is doing is when you create this table, it scans your data, right? And we have passed this. We are creating it referencing to what? To the dates that are already there. Yes. So in case there are now values here, this will handle that. Yes. Are you now there? Or you need to be shown how to create the table? Yeah, if you go to modeling, or you can go to there's another option because I think this one will be a bit tricky. Mm, you press enter, you press enter, shift enter, then you go down. Let me do this transform. Let's go to transform data. I think this option is a bit better. But for some versions of Power BI, I think you see. Hello? Yes. Okay. So instead of going to transform that, I'm trying to find if there is any way. Yeah, let's go to transform that. Okay. So, or alternatively, you can go to the model, right? Yeah, where I am. There's this, there's this icon. Enter that. You saw it, right? Click that, right? You are now here, right? And yeah. Mm, I'm now calling this symbol what calendar because I have already what a calendar in. I think I'm explaining. Yeah, it is. Or if you say new table here, or if you say new table, right? We want to create this using what? Using DAX. If you say new table, we want what symbol calendar equals to We said you can say what? Calendar what? Calendar out. And you pass what? Your fiscal.
12 is anyone.
Tuti fiscal year yedu inopera na 12 December.
Okay.
So once you do this, your table will be here. If you now come to your model, I think the table will be there. Where is it? This one. It now is what? It now is the date. So we then connect this date to the order date. And the moment you do that, this date here, where is it? It ceases to exist. Here it's not even marked as a date because we see a date with a calendar. Because hello, even on your home you can just say new table. But I'm not going to connect because I already have what? My calendar connected what? To my table. Yes. So for everything that we are going to do, in every instance that we need a date, we now use a date in our calendar because it's now connected what? To the model. It helps you in filtering and in drilling down. Yeah. Is it in the group chat where I shared the different players of sport playing in the same pitch?
Yeah. There was not a status. Okay.
Maybe it's the status. We need a common thing that governs us. Not to say everyone is using an edger. I've connected this. Let me click to the relationship. This is my calendar. I've connected what? To the sales 2022 as many to one. From the sales, it's many and one to the calendar. We only have one date in our calendar, so that's why it's one to many. And we filter from what? From the calendar. So we now have the date, right? I think it will be automatically detected. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it will be many to one to many.
Table view. Click calendar. Okay, cool.
So this is what. So the moment we did that, it created what? The dates. But here it's just taking the minimum date and the maximum date in our order table. But should we use this since we will also have date of birth? It is
That's why.
in the
The date of birth is outside of this.
so we
So
should
my,
to
my
use
data
calendar auto.
creator, it's from January to December.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's use calendar auto then. What 12?
So sorry, James. So my data creator using my dates, which years?
It's scanning the maximum and the minimum date in our data set.
So you're going to check out from 2020 to 2022.
Yes.
Maybe a few functions
Makes sense.
on this date.
Sorry? Don't worry about it for now. We'll do time intelligent function when you can then pass the format that you want. Chapansisaka. Pabatika. Shamin. I will not create. I think yeah, I did, but either way, if you have it, just use that. There's the option to commit here. So maybe you should commit. We need to be moving, guys. Yeah, it's all the same. We are creating a date. The good thing with the calendar is we have control. You can pass what the minimum and the max that you want. But for calendar auto, it scans automatically the data and takes the mean and the max. But for calendar, you saw we were explicit to say we need the minimum date in the cell and the maximum only. That's what we want. And in some instances, your company may already have the calendar. If you check the data remaven roster, they already have their calendar rather defined, and you should use that. But if you don't have, create one. That question comes. Usually it comes. Yes. Right. So, guys, we are now here. So, we now want to create what?
From this calendar thing, is it not going to start with my time intelligence about date?
Right. So, let's see what a calculated column looks like. Right. So we said what a calculated column is created in the data model, and it's created row wise. Right.
And a calculated column, just need to create.
Even a calculated measure we create. So you go to your right. So for calculated column, you go to your table. Right. Go to the table, create the table. Or you can just go the new column. So the column we want what? We want the total. We need final price. I'm calling it final price because I already have total price in my sheet. Is equals to what? Sales what? 20. So total price we are saying is what? Quantity times the actual the unit price. Huh?
What?
Quantity times the unit price. Price. This price is hello? Yes. That price is per unit. So we need what? The total price for that sale. And it. So we are saying it's what? All right, let me call it total price 1. And total price 2. So the way you should do it, if you want to go to a new column here, you come here, right? And click shift and enter. Shift enter. Yeah. So the moment you type sales, let me repeat. You see, it has intelligence. The moment you type sales, it tells you the columns that are there. So sometimes I don't need what to finish. Or the time is sales. Sales 2020. That's my table name. I'm not training. I need what the quantity. I need the price. I'm done. You don't need to write this in full. It has intelligence. If you are doing it the right way. So quantity times price. Or we can just say quantity. No, but sales quantity times price. Ish. The price and rude. Tafika. batsira vanhu shoma tasvika aya masimoa chinyati ari mwere mukoo
I'm following. Column table yes, what I tell you there, but no. I said that about pen.
Dara asi makaluza information. Download chandasenda pagroup.
Chino consult in the can load the using Janaka save. You misbehave.
You need a very good. Sugar in it. It's not for.
We never really check.
But it's a good machine.
So why is it misbehaving?
All
Alright, fine. Are we now there? Peshi waswika. Right, so let's now go to our table view and select our sales table and scroll to your right. You see what we have our calculated columns. If you go to the sales, you see this with what so we said all these are implicit what calculations and a summation. This one is the summation on top of a calculator. They are what? Explicit. These ones they have been done by the system and we have created this. So for a calculated column, you see it. You know what? But I think we need to change the data type here. The current from rands to US dollars. Yeah. So we now have what? Our total price. Yeah, it's the same because it's one quantity. On 4, it's saying what? 530 times G times 4 to give us what? 210 for that odd. And it. So it's what? It's now okay. Understood? Nzukebo. Aye? You are not following, huh? This is the I called the total price too. Yes. Which one are you asking? That one I said I was doing some checks with the data before I came here. Yeah. So it's the same thing. So you see that some things are the same because I was doing something before. Cool. Anifa, are you there? Cool, guys. We need to be moving because there's a lot to be covered. Unless we may fail to finish. Okay, that's fine. Right. So, having created our date, so let me try to show you something. We have our date, right? I now click my date. So we want to show a visual. I see. Yeah. So I've clicked my date. So for all the date operations that I'm going to do, I'm going to be using my what? My calendar. And I'm no longer worried about all the dates that are there. So maybe I want to see sales. I want to see total quantity sold, right? I'll just come maybe here using the explicit what? Maybe I need to use a line chart, right? We have this, right? We now have our graph here. So by quarter, so I now have my graph. Guys, I think the effective way to do it is when I'm doing, you will be checking, you'll be listening. When I'm done, you do. Yeah. Because I'm seeing we are conflicting and we won't finish. Yeah, you are using the wrong one. Okay, let me start. I said we are done creating our calendar. So I come in my calendar table, I click my date. The moment I do that, it automatically creates a table. I don't need to be selecting. Then I come to my sales table. I click maybe the quantity. Why is it doing that? Because these are two different tables. It's using the relationships that we have created what in our model. So maybe for me to visualize this, I need a line chart. While it's clicking this, I go to the line chart, and then now I have this. So it's showing what at year level. Then I can do what? I can do my drill down. Maybe I'm here by quarter and month, by day. We said this may not make sense. So let's go what? Let's go one level up. Maybe this is making a bit of sense. So you may need to then to probe. We'll do the nicing of the visuals later. For now, we are more concerned about creating what? I'm just demonstrating a calculated color.
Do you think that we can get? We can do that too.
Don't create data hierarchy, just create date. Just click the date.
That means
We have a lot to cover, guys.
This is this column is yeah, I'm a bit behind them. This column is in my currency is this currency register. And then the hidden boy kukazira madara type and
Tashigara. What one is this? Mashika. Peshi washigara. Hello? Mashika. Are you not seeing this one? Which date have you selected? And you have selected the quantity. Okay. It should work. Either check on top or bottom of your graph. It should be there. I highlight the chart first, because if you click outside the chart, you won't see it. Takarowa the time. Yeah, there. Use the format that page. But for now, we want to explain what. So you will see that we haven't created a calculated column for total quantity, but we are using what implicit summation, which was created by what. So in some instances, when you are in a rush, you can do that. But for you now to have control, you need to use what DAX and create your own calculated columns and calculated measures. That's what you are going to be doing. No. Ready? Total quantities. Meaning, failing to click one. Okay, what you do is delete that. Right, click your visual. Once it doesn't mean 1 hour. Okay. Your relationship is okay. Customer table. The calendar table is disconnected. This is what we do. Customer data. So you see you have tables that are disconnected. That's why it's not working. You still have to record that date. You also your customer table is disconnected. So if you see if you spend your time perfecting your model, you are doing nothing.
The column we don't have it. So we need calendar.
Hi, Peshwati. Send tawina apa vasati vapedza chimboti kasire because hey, I'm seeing ourselves spending another 2 weeks. Create the relationship. Right. So for you, I think one better than your one. With the 12 hamburger. So the advantage when we are wherever we are going to back to the sales table and we are filtering the using one to another. So you can do all other tables. So these tables are accessing each other. Right? Understand you can now understand what I tell you. So the next is
Promoting
we want to create table. We now want to create our measures. So the rule of thumb is to create our measure, but it is advised to store them in a independent table for clarity and ease of reference. So how do we do it? Go to you have that on your report on top, enter that. Bottom they went saying name and saying what table. Give it a name, matrix. Measures and matrix. Say measures as matrix. Measures and matrix. Then click enter.
It's done, right?
So
Yeah, go.
So we have created a blank table without anything in it. You did what I was saying. So chief, you are behind. So we want to create. So we are saying we want to create measures in the matrix, calculated columns etc. So you can create them in the table. For example, we want to create total